Lillian slammed her textbook shut, the echo reverberating through the empty lecture hall like a gunshot, her tears staining the pages of yet another failed exam. "Why can't I just be good enough?" she whispered to the shadows, her voice cracking under the weight of her father's empire that demanded perfection she could never deliver. In that moment of despair, the door creaked open and Addison, the night janitor with eyes like stormy seas, stepped in, mop in hand, unaware she was about to change everything. Lillian Vanderbilt had everything money could buy, but nothing that mattered. Born into the glittering world of New York City's elite, her father, tech mogul Harlan Vanderbilt, ruled Silicon Valley from his penthouse overlooking Central Park. His fortune, built on algorithms and acquisitions, cast a long shadow over Lillian's life. At 22, she was a senior at Columbia University, but her transcript was a battlefield of FS and incompletes. Parties, designer clothes, and superficial friends filled her days, but deep down, she felt like a fraud, a billionaire's daughter who couldn't pass a basic economics class. That fateful night in the Hamilton Hall lecture room, Lillian sat alone after hours, staring at her latest failure, a midterm with a glaring 45% scrawled in red ink. Her hands trembled as she thought of her father's inevitable disappointment. Harlan had pulled strings to get her into Columbia, but even his influence couldn't fake intelligence. "You're a Vanderbilt," he'd say, his voice like steel. Failure isn't an option. But it was her only reality. The door swung open, and in walked Addison Reyes, a 25-year-old janitor with a quiet strength that belied her humble role. Addison had grown up in the Bronx, the daughter of immigrant parents from Puerto Rico. She dropped out of community college after her mother's illness drained their savings, taking night shifts to support her family. Her uniform was faded, her dark hair tied back in a practical ponytail, but her warm brown eyes held a wisdom earned from life's hard knocks. "Sorry to interrupt," Addison said, her voice soft with a faint New York accent. "Didn't think anyone was still here. I'll come back later." Lillian looked up, wiping her eyes hastily. "No, it's fine. I'm just leaving anyway." But she didn't move. Something about Addison's presence felt grounding, unlike the judgmental stares of her classmates. Addison paused, noticing the crumpled paper. "Rough night?" "I've seen that look before. On my little sister's face when she bombed her SATs." Lillian chuckled bitterly. "Try bombing every test since freshman year. I'm Lillian, by the way. Vanderbilt." Addison's eyebrows raised slightly, recognizing the name from tabloids, but she didn't flinch. "Addison. And hey, tests aren't everything.
My abuelita always said, la vida es más que números.
Life's more than numbers." They talked for hours that night. Lillian poured out her frustrations, the pressure from her father, the fake friends who only wanted her for her connections, the gnawing emptiness inside. Addison listened without pity, sharing stories of her own struggles, caring for her sick mother, working 2 jobs, dreaming of one day becoming a teacher. "Pride isn't about what you have," Addison said, her voice steady. "It's about what you build with your own hands." As the clock struck midnight, Lillian felt a spark she couldn't name. Addison's kindness wasn't calculated, it was real. For the first time, someone saw her beyond the Vanderbilt name. The next day, Lillian sought out Addison in the campus cafeteria during her break. "Hey, want to grab coffee?" "My treat." Addison hesitated, glancing at her uniform. "I'm on the clock, but..." "Sure, why not?" Over lattes at a nearby Starbucks, their conversation flowed like the Hudson River. Lillian learned about Addison's love for poetry. Whitman and Neruda were her favorites, and her secret dream to write her own. Addison discovered Lillian's hidden passion for painting, buried under layers of expectation. "My dad thinks art's a waste," Lillian admitted. "But when I paint, I feel alive." "You should do it anyway," Addison encouraged. "Self-worth comes from inside, not from some boardroom approval." Their meetings became routine, late-night study sessions where Addison helped Lillian with basics, not by tutoring facts, but by building confidence. "Repeat after me," Addison would say. "I am capable. I am worthy." Lillian laughed at first, but soon the words stuck. One evening as they walked through Riverside Park, the city lights twinkling like stars, Lillian felt a pull. Addison's hand brushed hers accidentally, sending a shiver down her spine. Was this friendship? Or something more? Lillian had dated guys before, safe society-approved ones, but nothing felt like this electric connection. Addison felt it too. Growing up in a conservative family, she'd suppressed her feelings for women, focusing on survival. But Lillian's vulnerability cracked her walls. "You're not like anyone I've met," Addison confessed under a street lamp. "You see me, not just the mop." Their first kiss happened spontaneously, on a bench overlooking the river. It was tentative, sweet, filled with the promise of something profound. Lillian pulled back, eyes wide. I think I'm falling for you." Addison smiled, her heart racing. "Me too. But we have to be careful. Worlds like yours and mine don't mix easily." Little did they know the drama was just beginning. As weeks turned into months, Lillian and Addison's relationship blossomed in the hidden corners of New York City. They stole moments in Central Park, sharing picnics under blooming cherry blossoms, or wandering through the Met, where Lillian's art history knowledge shone. Addison introduced Lillian to her world. Hole-in-the-wall Taquerias in the Bronx, where the air hummed with Spanish chatter and sizzling carne asada. "This is real life," Addison said, feeding Lillian a bite. "Not your dad's yacht parties." Lillian thrived under Addison's influence. She started attending classes regularly, not for grades but for herself. Her paintings evolved from abstract frustrations to vibrant portraits capturing Addison's essence. Her fierce eyes, her gentle smile. "You're my muse," Lillian whispered one night in her off-campus apartment, a lavish space her father funded. But shadows loomed. Lillian's best friend Victoria, a socialite with a venomous tongue, grew suspicious. "Who's this mystery person you're always texting?" Victoria probed during a brunch at Sarabeth's. Lillian evaded, but Victoria's eyes narrowed. She came from old money, and in her world, appearances were everything. At home, Harlan Vanderbilt noticed the change. "You're smiling more," he said over dinner at their Upper East Side mansion. "Finally buckling down?" Lillian nodded, but inside, she dreaded telling him about Addison. Harlan was progressive in business but traditional in family matters. "Marry well," he'd always preached. Addison faced her own battles. Her mother, Maria, recovering from cancer, sensed her daughter's distraction. "Mija, who's making you glow like this?" Addison confided partially, saying it was a friend from work. But Maria's Catholic roots made full disclosure risky. "Just be careful," Maria warned. "Love can break you." The first crack appeared at Columbia's Spring Gala, a fundraiser Harlan sponsored. Lillian attended in a stunning gown, arm-linked with a family-approved date, Chad, a bland finance major. Addison, working the event as extra staff, watched from the shadows, her heart twisting. Later, in a quiet hallway, they argued. "Why didn't you tell him no?" Addison hissed, her uniform a stark contrast to the glamour. "I couldn't," Lillian replied, tears welling. "It's complicated." "Complicated? Or are you ashamed of me?" The words hung heavy. They reconciled with apologies and kisses, but doubt seeded. Lillian's grades improved dramatically. With Addison's encouragement, she aced her next exam. A+, her first in years. "You did this," Addison said proudly, framing the paper like a trophy. Their love deepened emotionally. On a weekend getaway to the Hamptons, Lillian's treat, they walked beaches at dawn, sharing dreams. "I want to teach inner-city kids," Addison revealed. "Show them they're more than their circumstances." "And I want to paint for a living," Lillian said. "No more hiding." But betrayal brewed. Victoria, snooping through Lillian's phone during a girls' night, discovered texts and photos. Shocked and jealous, harboring unrequited feelings for Lillian, she confronted her. "You're with the janitor? That's disgusting. What would your father say?" Lillian begged for discretion, but Victoria, feeling spurned, plotted. She anonymously tipped off the campus gossip blog, Columbia Confessions, with photos of their kisses. The post went viral overnight. Billionaire'S slumming it with custodial staff? Class divide drama. Lillian woke to her phone buzzing with notifications. Panic surged. "Addison, oh God." Addison at work, face stares and whispers. Her supervisor called her in. "This is a distraction. We can't have scandals." Harlan exploded when he saw it. "A janitor? Lillian, this is a phase. End it now, or I'll cut you off." The drama escalated. Addison's family learned through a cousin who followed the blog. Maria was heartbroken. A woman? Dios mío, what have I done wrong? Lillian and Addison met in their secret spot by the river, both shattered. I can't lose you, Lillian sobbed. We fight, Addison said, holding her tight. But this city's watching now. As tensions mounted, Lillian faced a choice: conform or claim her truth. The high society world closed ranks, friends ghosting her, invitations drying up. Addison lost shifts, her dreams threatened. Yet, in the chaos, their bond strengthened. They spent nights talking, crying, loving, finding solace in each other's arms. You're my pride, Addison murmured. My self-worth. But the storm was far from over. Victoria, not done, spread rumors that Addison was using Lillian for money, planting seeds of doubt in Harlan's mind. He hired a private investigator, uncovering Addison's financial struggles. Lillian, she's after our fortune, Harlan thundered. The accusation hit like a betrayal. Lillian confronted Addison, doubt flickering. Is it true? Are you with me for the money? Addison's eyes filled with pain. How could you even ask that? The argument exploded, words like daggers. Lillian stormed out, leaving Addison alone in the rain-soaked streets. Days of silence followed. Lillian buried herself in studies, passing tests but feeling hollow. Addison threw herself into work, her heart aching. Reconciliation came unexpectedly. At a campus protest for workers' rights. Addison's passion, Lillian showed up, sign in hand. I'm sorry, she said. I believe in us. They embraced amid cheers, but the real test loomed. Facing Harlan together. With renewed resolve, Lillian and Addison plotted their confrontation. We'll show him our love is real, Lillian said, gripping Addison's hand. They met Harlan at his office in the Vanderbilt Tower, a glass monolith piercing the Manhattan skyline. Harlan sat behind his massive desk, surrounded by screens flashing stock tickers. This better be good, he growled. Lillian spoke first, voice steady. Dad, I love Addison. She's taught me more about life than any tutor you hired. She's why I'm succeeding now, not your money. Addison added. Sir, I respect your world, but I love your daughter for who she is, not what she has. Harlan laughed coldly. Love? This is a liability. Addison, I know about your debts. How convenient. The word stung. Addison stood tall. I've never asked for a dime. My pride won't allow it. The meeting ended in stalemate. Harlan gave an ultimatum. End this or you're on your own, Lillian. The fallout was swift. Lillian moved out, crashing on Addison's couch in her tiny Bronx apartment. It was cramped, worlds away from luxury, but filled with warmth. Maria's home-cooked arroz con pollo, siblings' laughter. Welcome to the family, Maria said tentatively, her acceptance slow but genuine after heartfelt talks. Lillian adapted, taking a part-time job at a coffee shop to prove her independence. This is freedom, she told Addison, brewing lattes with a smile. Their relationship deepened amid adversity. Evenings were spent reading poetry aloud, Addison's voice weaving magic. You're my anchor, Lillian whispered during a candlelit dinner of takeout pizza. But drama intensified. Victoria, fueled by rejection, escalated her sabotage. She befriended Chad, Lillian's former date, and together they spread lies. That Addison had seduced Lillian for gain, even forging emails suggesting blackmail. The rumors reached Columbia's administration. Addison was suspended pending investigation. This is bullshit, she raged, pacing their apartment. Lillian felt guilt gnaw at her. It's my fault. My world is poisoning yours. No, Addison insisted. We fight back. They hired a pro bono lawyer from a LGBTQ+ advocacy group, turning the tide with evidence of harassment. The campus rallied. Students petitioned for Addison's reinstatement, seeing the classist undertones. Amid this, a deeper emotional layer emerged. Addison confessed her fears. I worry I'm not enough for you. That you'll miss the glamour. Lillian reassured her with a painting. A portrait of them under the stars. You're my everything. High tension built at a family event. Harlan's annual charity ball at the Plaza Hotel. Lillian attended uninvited, Addison by her side in a borrowed gown. Whispers followed them like ghosts. Victoria confronted them in the ballroom. You think you can waltz in here? She's using you, Lillian. The room hushed. Lillian stepped forward. No, Victoria. You're the one who's jealous and bitter. Addison has given me pride, something you never could. Harlan watched from afar, his facade cracking as he saw Lillian's poise. Later in a private room he admitted, I was wrong. I pushed you too hard because I feared failure myself. Tears flowed. Dad, accept us or lose me. Harlan nodded slowly. Give me time. Reconciliation began tentatively. Harlan offered Addison a scholarship to finish her degree, not as charity but recognition of her worth. You've earned it, he said. But betrayal struck again, from an unexpected source. Chad, spurned and allied with Victoria, leaked private photos to the press. Tabloids screamed, Vanderbilt heiress in lesbian scandal. The media frenzy was relentless. Paparazzi hounded them, turning their love into spectacle. Addison's family faced backlash in their community. Maria's health dipped from stress. Lillian and Addison retreated to a cabin in the Adirondacks, courtesy of a sympathetic friend. There in the quiet woods they confronted their wounds. Do you regret us? Lillian asked by the fire. Never, Addison replied. This love is worth the fight. They emerged stronger, holding a press conference. Lillian spoke eloquently. Love isn't about status. It's about soul. Addison taught me that. Public opinion shifted. Support poured in from LGBTQ+ icons and everyday folks. Victoria's schemes backfired. She was exposed as the leaker, losing her social standing. As summer faded, Addison was reinstated, and Lillian graduated with honors, not for her father but herself. Their bond, forged in fire, glowed brighter. Yet a final twist loomed. Harlan, in a bid for control, offered Addison a job at his company, far from New York. It's an opportunity, he said, but it felt like a bribe to separate them. Addison agonized. It's my dream field, education tech. But leaving you. Lillian's heart broke. Go. We'll make it work. The decision hung like a storm cloud, testing their love's limits. Addison accepted the job in San Francisco, a move that promised to launch her career but threatened their relationship. It's only temporary, she assured Lillian during their tearful goodbye at JFK Airport. We'll visit every weekend. Lillian nodded, but doubt crept in. Promise me you'll come back. I promise, Addison whispered, sealing it with a kiss. The separation was agony. Lillian threw herself into her art, securing a gallery show in Soho. Her pieces, inspired by Addison, sold out. Critics praised their emotional depth. You found your voice, her agent said. But nights were lonely. Video calls helped, but the time difference and Addison's grueling schedule strained them. I miss you, Lillian texted constantly. Addison thrived professionally, developing apps for underserved schools. This is what I dreamed of, she shared. Yet whispers of temptation arose. A colleague, Elena, flirted openly. Addison resisted, but the distance amplified insecurities. Back in New York, Victoria, seeking redemption or revenge, approached Lillian. I was wrong, she claimed over coffee. I miss our friendship. Lillian, vulnerable, listened. Victoria's apology seemed sincere, but old patterns emerged, subtle digs at Addison's absence. Long distance never works, Victoria said slyly. One night, after a fight over missed calls, Lillian confided in Victoria. What if she's moving on? Victoria pounced, planting seeds. I heard she's close with someone at work. The rumor festered. Lillian flew to San Francisco unannounced, arriving at Addison's apartment to find Elena there, innocently helping with the project. But jealousy exploded. Who is she? Lillian demanded. A friend. Addison retorted. You don't trust me? The argument escalated. Echoes of past betrayals. Maybe this was a mistake, Lillian cried. Our worlds are too different. Addison's eyes hardened. If you believe that, then go. Lillian left in tears, flying back heartbroken. Days of radio silence followed. She spiraled, failing to paint, ignoring calls from Harlan. Harlan, seeing her pain, intervened. I was wrong to separate you. Fight for her. Inspired, Lillian planned a grand gesture. She booked a flight, but fate twisted. A storm delayed her, mirroring her inner turmoil. Meanwhile, Addison, regretting her words, drove to the airport to surprise Lillian in New York, crossing paths in limbo. They reunited at a neutral ground, a cafe in Chicago midway. "I'm sorry," Addison said first. "Elena's nothing. You're everything." Lillian confessed Victoria's influence. "She betrayed me again, fed me lies." They forgave, vowing no more secrets. Addison quit the job, returning to New York. "Dreams mean nothing without you." Back together, they faced the final hurdle, integrating their lives fully. Addison enrolled in NYU's teaching program, with Harlan's genuine support. No strings. Maria hosted family dinners, bridging cultures. Their love matured, laced with humanity. They volunteered at LGBTQ+ centers, helping others find pride. Lillian's art focused on themes of self-worth, donating proceeds to scholarships. But drama lingered in subtle ways. A tabloid revisited their story, but this time they controlled the narrative, writing an op-ed for the New York Times. "Love Across Divides. Our Journey to Authenticity." The piece went viral, inspiring thousands. Letters poured in from young women struggling with identity and class. As autumn returned, they revisited Riverside Park, where it began. "We've come full circle," Addison said, proposing on one knee with a simple ring. "Marry me." Lillian's yes echoed through the trees. The wedding was intimate, Harlan walking Lillian down the aisle, Maria beaming. Victoria was absent, her betrayal a closed chapter. In their vows, Lillian said, "You taught me pride isn't inherited. It's earned through love." Addison replied, "And you showed me self-worth blooms in unexpected places." Their honeymoon in Puerto Rico blended their heritages, solidifying bonds. Yet, life wasn't fairy-tale perfect. Challenges arose. Addison's career demands, Lillian's artistic slumps, but they navigated with communication and empathy. One evening years later, they sat on their Brooklyn balcony, watching the city lights. "We made it," Lillian murmured. "Because we chose each other," Addison agreed. The story of the billionaire's daughter and the janitor became legend. Not for scandal, but for its human truth. Love transforms, betrayal tests, and self-worth is the ultimate victory. In the years that followed, Lillian and Addison's life wove a tapestry of triumphs and quiet joys, emblematic of America's melting pot. They adopted a rescue dog named Whitman, after Addison's favorite poet, and moved into a cozy brownstone in Greenwich Village. A far cry from Lillian's former opulence, but rich in love. Lillian's art career soared. Her gallery shows drew crowds, her paintings capturing the raw emotion of human connection. One series, Unseen Worth, featured portraits of everyday heroes like janitors and immigrants, honoring Addison's roots. Proceeds funded scholarships for underprivileged LGBTQ+ youth, turning personal pain into communal good. Addison became a beloved teacher at a Bronx public school, implementing programs that boosted student confidence. "Remember, kids," she'd say, echoing her lessons to Lillian. "Your value isn't in grades, it's in your heart." Harlan, transformed by their resilience, became an ally. He established the Vanderbilt Pride Fund, supporting queer causes. Family holidays blended traditions. Thanksgiving with turkey and tostines, Christmas with carols and coquito. But life tested them anew. When Maria's cancer returned, Addison crumbled. Lillian stood by her, managing treatments and emotions. "We're in this together," Lillian assured, holding Addison through sleepless nights. Maria's passing was a profound loss, but it deepened their bond. At the funeral, Lillian spoke. "She taught us family isn't blood, it's choice." They grieved, then healed, channeling sorrow into advocacy. Addison wrote a memoir, Mops and Miracles, detailing their story. It became a bestseller, option for a film, though they insisted on authentic casting. Betrayal's scars faded, but lessons lingered. When a former colleague of Addison's tried to exploit their fame with false claims, they sued and won, donating winnings to charity. "No more letting others define us," Addison declared. Their marriage evolved into a partnership of equals. They traveled, backpacking in the Rockies, volunteering in New Orleans post-hurricane, experiencing America's vastness. In quiet moments they'd reflect. "From that lecture hall to here," Lillian marveled. Children entered their world via adoption. Twin girls Sophia and Elena, a nod to past lessons. Parenting brought new drama. Sleepless nights, school plays, but immense joy. They're our legacy, Addison said, watching them play. As they aged, health scares arose. Lillian faced anxiety from her high-pressure past. Addison dealt with burnout. Therapy helped, reinforcing their emotional foundation. In their 50s, they retired to a farm in upstate New York, growing vegetables and hosting retreats for young couples. Share your stories, they'd encourage. Vulnerability builds strength. One crisp fall day, echoing their first meeting, they renewed vows under a canopy of leaves. Friends and family gathered, Harlan, now frail but proud, toasting. "You two redefined family for me." The ceremony was simple, profound. Lillian whispered, "You still make my heart race." Addison smiled. "And you, my pride." Their story inspired generations. Sophia became an activist. Elena, an artist. The girls knew their mom's tale. Not as fairy tale, but real, messy, human. In twilight years, as they sat by the fire, Addison reflected. "We had drama, betrayal, but love won." Lillian nodded. "And self-worth? We found it together." Their ending was peaceful, passing hand in hand after a lifetime of impact. Obituaries hailed them as pioneers. From class divide to enduring love. But their true legacy was intangible. The ripple of kindness, the affirmation that anyone, from Billionaire's daughter to Janitor, could find pride through authentic connection. In America's diverse fabric, their narrative stood as a beacon. Love transcends, humanity prevails.